Okay, now, in the previous lecture, we seen how we can fix the association problem if Reaver could not associate with the target and was just giving you the fail to associate problem in here, and we seen how we can fix that by manually associating with the target. Now, in many cases, that's it, that'll be the end of the issue. So that was a completely separate issue that we solved. The problem is, after we solved that issue, we ran Reaver, we bypassed that issue, but we were kind of stuck at 0.00% and Reaver wasn't moving, it wasn't giving us any information, so we really didn't know what to do, so we're kind of stuck on what's the next step. So, what I want to show you in this lecture is a way of debugging and knowing what's happening in the background, and we'll see how to bypass the issue that's actually happening. So, first of all, before I start trying solutions, I want to know what's happening in the background. And to do that, we're going to run the exact same command using the exact same sequence that we were doing before, but I'm going to add one more argument to the command, and that is -vvv. And what this does, it basically tells Reaver to produce verbose output, which means that it'll give us as much information as possible about what's happening in the background. Now, we usually don't use this option because you'll see the screen will get filled with messages and it'll be hard to track what's happening. But if you're getting stuck, this is the only way for you to debug and know what's happening. So I'm going to hit enter for this. And it's asking me if I want to continue. I'm going to say no because I like to always start from scratch, especially if I didn't make any progress. And before I do that, I'll get my command ready here. And I'm going to hit enter here, go back here, hit enter to associate. And let's see what's happening. So I'm going to let this run for a little bit. And then I'm going to Control C out of it, obviously, because we know this is actually not going to work. And once we stop, we're going to analyze the output and see what's happening. But as you can see, it's producing a lot of output, and that's why we usually don't use the -vvv, because if things are going well, we actually don't need to see these messages. Okay, now I think this is enough for us to know what's happening. So I'm just going to Control C here, and I'm going to Control C in here. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so we can focus on the top. So we can see the start here. We can see that it associated here with no problems, so that's all good. And we can see this is the first pin that it's guessing, so it's 000556773. Now it's sending the requests, and as you can see, it's getting a timeout error. Now let's keep going and see what's happening. Now we can see after sending the NAC packets, we're getting a message saying WPS transaction failed, and it's going to try the last pin. So it doesn't know whether this pin is valid or not, so it's just going to try the exact same pin again. Looking back at what's happening, the same thing happens. It sends a WSC NAC, and then again the same thing happens, the transaction fails, goes back to trying the same exact pin. Go down and you see the same thing happening, and it's still trying the same pin. Now, looking at this, let's look at the help. So let's do Reaver --help. This will show us all the options that we can use with Reaver. And if you look in here, you'll see we have an option of capital N or --no NACs. And what this does, it tells Reaver not to send NAC messages when out of order packets are received. Now looking at the output here, at the way that Reaver keeps receiving these packets, and then it's repeating the same thing because it's sending the WSC NAC, we can try to tell Reaver not to send this NAC and just keep trying and see if this actually fixes the problem. Because it looks like it's the WSC NAC packets that's causing Reaver to get stuck in this loop. So I'm going to run the exact same command again, and this time we're adding one more argument and we're saying no NACs. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter. Again, I'm going to say no to start from scratch, and I'm going to prepare my command here. So enter, enter, and let's see what happens. Now River is trying this pin, which is 0005678. Let's see if the next pin is going to be different. Now I already know this pin is different than the first one because I noticed the first one, but let's see. And boom, yeah, next pin is different. Now it's 012355678. And again, a new pin. So we're doing 1115670. And perfect. So far, Reaver has tried 4 pins, and it's actually making progress. So we're not stuck at where we were. We managed to bypass the 0x2 and 0x3 issues. And now we can just let Reaver work and brute force the password for me. Now, it detected AP rate limiting, which is another issue that I'm going to cover later. But for now, we managed to bypass the 0x2 and 0x3 issue. So the take-on lesson from this lecture is you can do the -VVV to debug and see exactly what's happening in the background. You can do --help to see the options, and we've seen how we can use the no-nax to bypass the 0x2 and 0x3 issues. Now, I want to note that each of these issues, now the router I have right now is a very stubborn one. So probably you might not face all of these issues that I'm covering now in a router. For example, you might face the issue that I covered previously about the association, but everything will run smoothly after that. Or maybe you could associate with no problem, you won't need to manually associate, but you'll get stuck after that and you'll have to run VVV, see what's happening, and then maybe use no-nax like I showed you. Or maybe you won't face any of these issues and you might jump straight to the rate limiting issue that we're getting right now, and that I said I'm going to cover later. So each of these issues, I'm putting them in a different lecture because you might only face one of them. And obviously, there might be the case where you face 2 or 3 of them like I'm showing you right now. But the idea is you might actually only face one of these, and I want you to understand how to bypass each one of these issues individually instead of just giving you a long Reaver command that'll bypass or that'll try to bypass most issues.